Jessie Earl was 22 when she rang her mum from a public phone in Eastbourne. It was a Wednesday and she wanted to let her know that she would visit her on Friday. When Jessie failed to arrive, Jessie's mum, Valerie, was not overly worried. Jessie was an art student in Eastbourne who rented a small bedsit. She was known to change plans at the last minute but always notified her parents if this was going to happen. When Valerie had not heard from her by Saturday, she took a train to Eastbourne to try to ascertain her whereabouts. Upon entering her bedsit, Valerie's worries increased as she found her daughter's reading glasses and purse. It was noted, though, that her asthma inhaler bag and a silver ring she wore were not there. Further inquiry with her friends alerted her mother to the fact that no one had seen or heard from her since Wednesday. Valerie and Jessie's father Earl called the police to notify them that their daughter was missing. Sniffer dogs searched the area and her bedsit, and a helicopter was ordered 3 weeks later to try to find the young woman. However, this was to no avail. Jessie's parents continued to try to keep her name in the national conscience, and missing posters were distributed around the town and they appeared on various shows, including a famous British crime program, Crime Watch. In 1989, 9 years after Jessie was declared as missing, a young girl was flying a kite on Beachy Head, where she lost control of it in the wind, and it got stuck within some overgrown bushes. The child's father, trying to retrieve it for her, came upon a skeletonized body with only a bra tied around the wrists. The skeleton was found to be that of Jessie Earl. There were forensic investigations at the scene and the surrounding area, but none of her possessions were found, and all that could be surmised was that Jessie likely died where she was found. An inquest was held, and an open verdict was given. Police believed that she likely committed suicide, prompted by the stress of her studies and depression she may have suffered. Beachy Head, where Jessie was found, is a famous landmark on the south coast. It is known for its cliffs' white color from the chalk, and were formed over 100 million years ago. Although it is known for its beautiful walks, it is probably better known for the staggering number of deaths that have occurred there. For example, it is believed that since 1965 over 500 people have died, and it is well known for being a suicide hotspot. I stress this because it wouldn't be a massive leap for police to conclude that Jessie may have ended her life here. As a side note, when the skeleton was found, the Eastbourne Gazette did speculate whether the body was that of the missing Lord Lucan. A new investigation, however, her parents were adamant that Jessie was not suicidal, and their protests led to a new investigation being launched 11 years later in 2000. It was during this investigation, led by DCI Steve Dennis, that mistakes were acknowledged, namely, and most significantly, that the bra found and other physical evidence was admitted to being destroyed in 1997. This is because of the open verdict given in 1989. However, despite this, police did record her death as being murder. Peter Tobin. Peter Tobin is one of Britain's most prolific killers. He has been linked to various murders, but at present is charged with the murders of 3 women killed between 1991 and 2006, and is currently serving a whole life order at Him Prison, Edinburgh. Peter also served 10 years for a double rape committed in 1993. 3 years after his release, in 2004, he was arrested again for the rape and murder of Angelica Clark in Glasgow in 2006. He would be finally charged with 3 murders. Peter's life and movements were monitored in the police investigation Operation Anagram, which began in 2006. It was due to this operation that the bodies in his previous residence were found. Moreover, a detective noted, in 2006, that they were following up on over 1,400 lines of inquiry. Although this was scaled back, in 2008, to 9 unsolved murders and disappearances. One of those unsolved disappearances was that of Louise Kay, who was an 18-year-old who went missing near Beachy Head in 1988. Louise was last seen by her friend, who told police that Louise was going to sleep in her white Fiesta at Beachy Head. The friend did not note this as being unusual, as she had done this before. However, this was the last time Louise, or her car with a unique gold-painted door, would ever be seen again. Police, investigating this again under Operation Anagram, noted Tobin was in the area at the same time, working in a hotel in Eastbourne, and had links to scrapyards. Furthermore, he was seen selling a small hand-painted car not long after her disappearance. Louise's body has never been found, and the house in Brighton, that Tobin lived in around this time, has never been searched, despite 2 other properties he resided in being subject to forensic investigation. A former investigator, Mark Williams Thomas, believes that her body is in this unsearched property. Jessie's link to Tobin. Under Operation Anagram, the murder of Jessie was also reviewed, and it was found that Jessie did know Tobin. Tobin was residing in Eastbourne in 1980 and worked as a handyman in Holy Trinity Church. It was also at this church that Jessie sung in the choir. Also, Jessie was known to walk around Beachy Head, similarly to Louise, and told her mother that she had met a middle-aged man with a Scottish accent and told her mother, "I wish men would be prepared to be just friends." Shortly after the remains of Jessie were found, Tobin uprooted his family from Eastbourne to Scotland, something he had a pattern of doing when his other victims were found. The 2022 inquest. Jessie's parents continued to press for a new inquest and asked the Attorney General to open one in June 2020. In December 2021, this was approved by the High Court. This was finally opened in May 2022, and Jessie's death was formally concluded as being that of murder. It was documented that Jessie was probably tied to a tree and sexually assaulted, and the coroner openly criticized the original investigation and its flaws. He went on to further admonish the original investigation as they willfully ignored the evidence. Whilst taking the easy route of saying Jessie committed suicide, the Chief Constable of Sussex Police accepted that the investigation was inadequate and stated that all new lines of inquiry were being investigated. Was it Tobin? As stated earlier, Tobin was a prolific sex offender and serial killer. He was a brutal and sadistic man with a penchant for young women like Jessie. He is linked to various murders such as Bible John in Glasgow. He was questioned about the murder of Jessie but refuses to cooperate and swore at the questioning officer. It may appear that this is quite cut and dry. However, there is no evidence to support that he is definitively her killer, and there are other potential suspects. One of these is David Fuller, and police took DNA from Jessie's parents this year. Despite this, no links can be made to him either. Closing thoughts. Without question, Tobin is the number one suspect in Jessie's murder, but because of the blundering of the original inquest, there will likely be no justice for her parents, who both are now in their 90s. Their tireless quest to ensure that her death was properly investigated is inspiring. As always, I am keen to know if you have any additional thoughts or comments on this.